Assalamu alaikum everybody, this is your brother Sam and a very warm welcome back to the Sam of Somalia channel. Hope you guys are well, hope you guys are having a good day. Today this video is just a little bit of a chat video which is going to talk a little bit about something which I find really interesting and something that I haven't actually told you guys about before. And it's also a little bit of a shout out to my audience in Kenya. You guys pretty much, you're always in my top 5 country that is kind of that makes up the majority of the viewers on this channel as well, so big shout out to you guys. The others are like Canada, makes sense, loads of Somalis in Canada, UK, Sweden, Somalia obviously, and Kenya as well. They're usually the ones that are the most represented in my audience. So today we're talking about why I love the Swahili language. It's something I've never talked about before, why I find Swahili so interesting and why I think it's so cool and why I'm so interested in it and why I love it. So I was first introduced to Swahili when I was at school, and I was first interested in languages really, and I wanted to kind of push the boat out a little bit more and learn a language that wasn't European, and I discovered that Swahili is I think the third most spoken language in Africa, and is the most spoken like African language. Obviously, the ones that are more spoken in Africa are actually not African languages, like French, like English and like Arabic as well. They're not actually African languages, but Swahili is, and the main reason is because it's actually like a trade language, or at least historically was a trade language, and is a lingua franca as well. Like a lot of people who maybe their first language isn't actually Swahili will speak Swahili as well to speak to people from other regions as well, and I found that just quite fascinating really, that you could learn one language and you could speak to a lot of different people across a whole area. So for those of you who don't know, Swahili is a language that's sort of spoken in East Africa, and particularly along the coast of East Africa. Hence, the word Swahili actually comes from the Arabic word sahel, meaning the shore, like a shore, like a seashore, is a sahel, and the plural is sawahil. Sawahil. So the Swahilis are the people who live on the shores, like the people of the shores. And I guess it got their name from the Arabs who would sail to East Africa to do trade and stuff like that, out of the countries which today we refer to as Tanzania. Swahili is a national language in Tanzania, I believe, and in Kenya it definitely is. And and then there's an island, Zanzibar, as well, where Swahili is spoken. And I just found that fascinating. Right, I found that fascinating, and then my interest in it sort of I started actually reading about Swahili a bit more when my dad married again. My dad's second wife was actually born in Uganda. Her family went there with the missionaries, back in the day, and her family were Christian missionaries in Uganda, and she learned some Swahili when she was at school. I think both of her parents could speak Swahili, and in Uganda, which was just fascinating. And when I went to SOAS, when I first joined SOAS, like they've got quite a big Swahili department at SOAS, and I met quite a lot of people who, like white people who were learning Swahili, and I just thought it was really cool. I've got a friend of mine actually, a guy called Chris, who did his degree, a white guy actually from Brighton, I think. He did his degree in like African studies, and he learned Swahili, and now I think he's married to a woman who's from Kenya or Tanzania or something, and he's like fluent in Swahili, and his Somali is really good as well. He was in my Somali class at university too, so he speaks Swahili and Somali, and I'll bring him on the channel sometime. I want to have him as a guest on the channel sometime. Maybe he can talk to us more about Swahili. But yeah, like at SOAS, it's like most people who study an African language, they study Swahili, either Swahili or Hausa. Hausa comes in just behind Swahili, I think, in terms of like African languages that are most spoken in Africa, and it's kind of West Africa's equivalent of Swahili. It's like a trade lingua franca. The Hausa people are generally Muslims as well, as are the Swahili people generally. That it's changed a lot, obviously, mainly because of Christian missionary work, recent Christian missionary work. Historically, the Swahili people were pretty much Muslims, but now, because of Christian missionary work, it's not so much a given that people from Tanzania and people from Kenya, like a lot of Swahili speakers, are actually not Muslims anymore. But so I was obviously studying Arabic when I became interested in, when I was at SOAS, and it was just particularly interesting to find so many Arabic words in Swahili. Like as I was reading more about Swahili, speaking to my friends who are studying Swahili, and there's loads of words in Swahili that are of Arabic origin, and even like the word like white middle class people from the UK, when they go on safari, in countries that speak Swahili, obviously the word safari has an Arabic origin as well. The word safar is a travel. In Arabic, particularly the verb safara is to travel somewhere. Safara, and a musafir is a traveller. You can kind of tell where the word safari comes from safar, from actually travelling somewhere. And I think there's loads of words like that. Even the word Swahili itself, as I mentioned, has its origins in Arabic. And throughout studying Arabic, I found that even more fascinating. That kind of spurred on my interest even more. But I sort of came back to Swahili again when I went to Uganda to do da'wah. There is quite an early video on this YouTube channel of me giving da'wah in Uganda, me addressing like a group of people in Uganda. Because I had the opportunity in 2014, 2013 or something, to actually go to Uganda for a few months and do da'wah out there. And I actually went to the church where my dad's second wife's family had done Christian missionary work. I actually went to that church and we had a few shahadas, alhamdulillah. So that was like a completing of that story, subhanallah. Like actually, when I was in Uganda, in Kampala, I actually went to that church in particular that they'd always told me about. And I went out there to do da'wah. Alhamdulillah, I had 13 shahadas when I was out there. Which is obviously a huge blessing, a huge mercy. And a lot of the guys who are obviously helping me there, a lot of the guys actually, the Ugandan guys, they actually spoke Luganda. Luganda was actually the main language, but when we went like further east, the further east you went, the more people would speak Swahili. And I met people who said it was actually quite unusual to find people from Kampala who spoke such good Swahili, because like a lot of the dairies, a lot of the du'at I was with, they travel a lot around East Africa doing da'wah, and the guys who do that, obviously their Swahili is going to be really on point. And so I've had the opportunity to go there, and I've said a number of times, other than like the sacred places I've been to, Uganda is probably my favourite place in the world that I've ever been to. And I was there for like the whole of Ramadan, and it was a huge ni'mah to be able to go there. I actually had to come home early because my mum was unwell then, so I came home early. But despite that, I had a really, really amazing time there. And it's always, throughout this whole time, it's always been a dream of mine to actually take Swahili seriously and really get to learn Swahili. But hopefully the opportunity will arise for me to go to Kenya and to Tanzania and to go to East Africa again, inshallah. Like a lot of my family, like a lot of Somalis generally, but my in-laws spent a little while in Kenya, in Mombasa. And a lot of my in-laws can speak Swahili as well. Some better than others, but a lot of them can speak Swahili, or at the very least understand Swahili. And that's just really cool. And then the last reason why I find it so fascinating, I think perhaps comes back to even like my childhood, like growing up in the 90s. I was born in 93, so like we watched The Lion King, and even back then, it kind of that kind of sows a seed in the heart of all white kids that we're interested in Swahili. Somewhere in our hearts, we have a bit of Swahili and East Africa desire in us to learn Swahili. But coming back to that, like anyone who knows me or has been following my content for a long time, like they know I love animals. My Instagram story, I'll be mentioning it a number of times. If I'm watching an animal documentary, I'm happy. Man, I love animals. Hippo, giraffe, lions, hyenas. I'm pretty into that sort of stuff. So inshallah, I'll have the opportunity to go to East Africa, inshallah, and go and see some of those animals live in the flesh. Or inshallah, in the future, those animals will come back to Somalia, and there'll be a lot more wildlife and stuff in Somalia in the future, inshallah. I know that rhinos and hippos and elephants and lions and animals that are native to Somalia are a lot harder to see in Somalia now, if ever. Or even it's even why, like, on the Somali coat of arms, there's a cheetah, isn't there, on the Somali coat of arms? Is it a leopard or is it a cheetah? I'm never sure if it's a shabelle or a haramad. I think shabelle, if that's how you pronounce it properly, is a tiger or a leopard. Same word in Somali for tiger and a leopard. But haramad, I think, is a cheetah. But I can't remember which one it is. I feel like it's a leopard now, which is on the Somali coat of arms. So it's obvious that those animals were native to that country, but I've heard that it's a lot harder. We'll end on just this book. This is a book that my I think it was my dad's second wife. She gave me this book, a book on the Swahili origins, and I've sort of dabbled in and out of this book, and but it's just really nice. It reads really nicely. Although it is like a textbook, it is like a it is a, what do you call it, non-fiction. It's a non-fiction book if it's like a textbook. Although it is like that, and it's got different chapters like early coastal settlements, Shirazi Islam, if you can call that Islam, Arab origins, and and trade, and Persian origins of Swahili, and all this sort of stuff. There's loads of these chapters. Even though it is written like that, it does kind of read like a novel. Like it is well written. It's just nice to interact with. I'll leave a link to my Amazon store. I have like a Sam of Somalia Amazon store, and I'll have like so I'll leave a link to this book if you guys are interested in that. And perhaps we'll build more stuff. Like I have in the Sam of Somalia Amazon store, we do have like a Somali language study bundle, and there's like the books that I've recommended on this channel before and that I use for learning Somali, and I do have like an Arabic language one as well, and perhaps we'll build out a Swahili one as well. Would be quite cool. But the first book will go in will be Swahili origins. We'll go into that book, and then perhaps I'll get my friend Chris when he comes on the channel to give us some more advice on how we can learn Swahili together, inshallah. But that's everything for this video. That was just a little change of pace for this channel for us to talk about a different African language. Maybe I'll do a video one day about Hausa as well, because I've learned some Hausa before, and I was this close at uni to studying Hausa instead of Somali, but I upset the professor and he didn't let me on the course. That's a story for another day. I called him some things that I accidentally insulted him. So that's why I'm not Sam of Nigeria now. No, it's not. There's other reasons why I wanted to learn Somali, of course. Okay, so that's it, guys. We're going to round off. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't you dare forget to like and share it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notifications as well, so you'll be updated every time I put new videos out. And I look forward to seeing you guys in those later videos. Hope you have a nice day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.